Hello, Dr. Chow, distinguished corporate fellow, and fellow classmates. We're Team Gator, and this is our presentation on the Fender Musical Instruments Corporation. We hope you enjoy it.
Hello, my name is Todd Ulrey. I'm with Colleen, Alim, Stephen, and Depina. We're going over Fender, the world's largest guitar manufacturer. We'd like to discuss a little bit about their history and their supply chain management moving forward. Fender's early history. In the 1940s, a Southern California inventor, Leo Fender, realized that there was a need in the guitar industry. He looked at the designs and the ways that people were creating these guitars at the time, and he realized that he could improve the guitar design, the design of the day, by using an innovative and rather simple solid body electric guitar design. This was something that, just based on observation and his own belief in himself, he could accomplish. Not only did he feel he could improve the design, Fender also believed that he could also streamline the process of building these, finding ways to become more efficient with the design and the implementation. In 1951, Fender introduced a solid body instrument that would later be called the Telecaster guitar, or the Tele. In 1951, Fender also introduced the precision bass guitar that could be amplified. This was a groundbreaking invention because these two instruments together led a revolution on popular music as we know it, and led to today's modern rock combination of electric and bass amplified guitars. So the boom in the 60s, 70s, 80s can be directly attested to some of the innovations and the improvements that Fender in the early history of this helped establish. Fender bass on the left, Fender Telecaster Tele on the right, being the one in the case versus the bass with the medium jumbo frets. In 1954, the Stratocaster was invented due to incorporating design innovations based on feedback from professional musicians, feedback from others who are helping design and implement the Fender guitars, and all the other sources. In any good supply chain management, there's information given and received in order to make product design choices and things of that nature when implementing new products. Fender went on to release the classic instruments and amplifiers designs over the next decade until he suffered poor health. In 1965, due to his poor health, Leo Fender sold the company to CBS, and the growth of Fender itself continually grew over the next 20 years with product innovations, new designs, and things of that nature. However, lack of commitment, musical understanding started to become apparent as Leo Fender was no longer with the company and CBS was in charge. In 1981, CBS started to realize some of the lack of commitments that they had seen, so they sought a new management team, which they were looking for new, fresh ideas with research and development and a commitment to that. So in 1985, Schwartz, who was the company president of CBS at the time, decided he was going to buy Fender from CBS, take over the Fender name into a small hands of a group of dedicated people committed to creating the world's best guitars and amplifiers, similar to the original vision of Fender as they began. Schwartz and this small team, a lot of which who worked with Leo Fender in the original Fender company before they sold to CBS, wanted to really come back together and commit to making this one of the best guitar manufacturers of all time. Fender had to start from scratch due to no buildings, no machinery, nothing like that included in the sale. It was just a group of people and dedication to Fender. Schultz and his colleagues were determined to rebuild an American icon, Fender. New Fender initially imported its guitars from offshore manufacturers who had proven ability to produce affordable and viable instruments. This kind of shows the growth and the birth of this early supply chain management of Fender as we know it. With a desire to move toward greater control, Fender established a U.S. manufacturing company in Corona, California in 1985. They started to do their own manufacturing in-house as opposed to using the offshoring outsourced manufacturers. A second manufacturing facility opened in Mexico in 1987, further increasing their capability to produce. In 1987, the Corona facility also began offering custom shop options that allowed professional guitarists, enthusiasts, and all of those who are musical instrument fans alike to create their dream instruments. Fender's custom shop is known worldwide and to this day as the pinnacle of craftsmanship and sheer industrial artistry. Fender moved its headquarters to Scottsdale, Arizona in 1991, where they coordinate administration, marketing, advertising, sales, and export operations in the United States. Along with this new headquarter in Scottsdale, Fender also began international satellite facilities in England, France, Germany, Japan, Mexico, the Netherlands, Spain, and Sweden. So truly globalization was taking place. Early in Fender's days when they were doing their outsourcing, that was one thing. Now that they have satellite facilities all over the world spreading this brand name, truly a feat. So Schultz retired in 2005, but the goal to rebuild an American icon was well underway. Fender became one of the world's leaders by defining the sound we hear, by meeting the needs of musicians, by creating quality products, and by backing them up with service and stability.
This shows the glued-in set neck of the Gibson Les Paul. That's Fender's main competition, who they benchmark against. And this shows the modular design bolt-on neck of the Fender Telecaster, which this allows Fender to produce much faster, and also it helps with talent acquisition. Instead of luthiers, they can acquire less skilled labor.
Mission statements communicate much about the aims, aspirations, and values of organizations and units of organizations. Statements of mission represented the confluence of culture, purpose, values, leadership, and a host of tangible and intangible resources collectively and integratively targeted toward enhanced performance. Brand mission implementation requires strategic partnership. What is Fender's brand mission? Our brand mission is to accompany each player at every stage with products and brand experiences that fuel the pursuit of expression. Within Fender Global Research and Development, they are focused on building products that resonate with their customers and drive the spirit of rock and roll. Supply chain management operates at 3 levels: strategic, tactical, and operational. At the strategic level, company management makes high-level strategic supply chain decisions that are relevant to the whole organization. The decisions that are made with regards to the supply chain should reflect the overall corporate strategy that organization is following. This strategic supply chain process that management has to decide upon will cover the breadth of supply chain. This includes product development, customers, manufacturing, vendors, and logistics. When a supply chain is managed at the operational, tactical, and strategic levels, it has the best chance of helping its company reach its goals. When strategic supply chain is optimized, a company is delivering what its customer wants, when its customer wants it, and spending as little money as possible getting that done. What about Fender's strategic supply chain management system? First to market with solid body design, revolutionary modular design, bolt-on neck instead of set neck like Gibson, huge production time savings by using assembly lines instead of luthiers, targeting young males instead of present professional musicians.
Hi, my name is Kayleen Bacasa, and I am with the Gator Group, and I'm going to be discussing Fender's supply chain management approach, tactical and operational. Their tactical approach was to use raw materials that were dynamic and unique in nature. They benefited from the wood shortages that happened over time that a lot of manufacturers faced. And also there were regulatory changes of endangered and protected wood. And another thing that Fender also did was they switched from a hide-based adhesive to using an artificial glue. Now, Fender's operational approach was to have multiple manufacturing facilities, each serving a different target. The United States facility produced the highest level of perceived quality. In Mexico, they produced the next level down. Basically, some of the differences included having a lower grade wiring, the pickups, the wood, different things of that nature that composed that one product. But to the public's perception, it was almost just like an American-made Fender. The quality was still the same and it still carried the Fender badge. But in China and Indonesia, their facilities are mostly under the Squire brand of Fender. And that will cover the tactical and operational approaches.
Now let's discuss some of the key performance indicators of Fender. Key performance indicators are measurable values that demonstrate how efficiently an organization or company is achieving its key business objective. For Fender, the key performance indicators that have helped them a lot to achieve its objective are on-time delivery. On-time delivery are generally measured in terms of whether the customer is receiving what they want, where they want, and when they want or not. It is focused on towards increasing the confidence level of consumers towards the product and the corporation. The second key performance indicator is expand into new channel and market worldwide, and this help Fender a lot to enter or expand in new market, as well as increase the customer base. The third key performance indicator is forecast accuracy, and it is measured in terms of how much the actual activities deviate from the forecasted one. And for Fender, it is very necessary to achieve the maximum level of forecast accuracy to remain competitive in the market. Another key performance indicator is increased inventory control. Inventory control is the process of ensuring that the corporation maintains a sufficient amount of stock, and this helps Fender a lot in fulfilling customer demand without delay, as well as save the huge sum of money by maintaining the low level of inventory. Last but not the least, the value that have helped Fender a lot to achieve its key business objective is identify and minimize capacity constraint. Capacity constraint is a factor that prevents a business to get the maximum output, and timely identification and minimization of these capacity constraints help a Fender a lot in order to ensure the smooth flow of business activities without any hiccup. To successfully execute these key performance indicators, Fender have developed a strategy to monitor it on a monthly basis, and they have also altered its traditional approach with information technology, aligning different business with IT. They have also implemented Logility Voyager solution for optimization of its supply chain and retail planning solution. In addition to this, they are also using different e-commerce site, which has also changed the way of delivering things, reacting with different trends, requirement, and interacting with different business activities. And Fender is also continuously monitoring open purchase order, logboxing, processing, invoicing, and so on, so that they can correlate this with other business events and get insight into it and grab the opportunity. All of these have contributed a lot for the success of Fender, such as service of Fender has increased by 50%, finished good inventory turnover have doubled, and it have also enabled them to perform a perpetual analysis, which is very necessary to compete with competitors. Factory and manufacturing evolution of competitors' drive have also changed, and it have also facilitated Fender to compete with used instrument markets such as Reverb.com and eBay. To continue this presentation, I would like to hand over this to my other two teammates. Thank you.
This is the Fender manufacturing facility of the United States in the mid 1950s. This shows the modular design and also some of the workforce, which, being able to have the modular design, like what was earlier stated, allowed Fender to use less skilled laborers. This allowed Fender later on to expand overseas and open up successful manufacturing facilities, and to be able to find and acquire the labor needed to run those facilities locally in those communities.
Okay, let's discuss Fender's benchmarking. Fender's main historical competitor has been Gibson. While Fender's credit rating was recently raised by Moody's, Gibson potentially is filing for bankruptcy within the next 130 days. And Gibson has recently had to close their Memphis manufacturing facility, while Fender has been adding locations overseas. And there have been some expansion similarities. They both have sub-brands. Gibson has Epiphone and Fender has Squier. But there are some differences. The Epiphones are not the same quality control as Gibson's, where Squiers go under a vigorous quality control process and carry the Fender name on them, where the Epiphone does not have Gibson written anywhere on the product. Now, the recommendations for Fender is for them to stick with their core competencies. It is very easy to become eager to chase fads and to put your brand on products that you outsource, that may not have the same quality control that you have on your guitars, and that is in the perception of the public. If you put a product into the marketplace with the Fender badge on it, even if it's outsourced, if its quality is not up to par with the public perception, it's going to affect the parent brand. The core competencies, right now, Fender is offering some online lessons. They are putting their name on some products that may in the future cause issues with the possible brand dilution. Now, we also would recommend that Fender continues its custom options and at various price points. Fender has been making some stride in that area by providing artist renditions of instruments or artist signature instruments at lower price points, and also embrace transparency. In the business of guitar making and selling, and any business, when you're dealing with offshore or outsourcing, and even domestic businesses, transparency is going to become an issue. Now, when you're dealing with materials that tend to go through either cycles of availability, such as hardwoods, it's good to have a transparent nature about you so that people can make sure that you're following the supply chain management ethics that are followed by Fender regarding not only the hardwood acquisition, but and other raw materials, but also the manufacturing side of outsourcing, making sure that your facilities are following not only local laws, but it is recommended that they also pay attention to how, even if they're following local laws, how those actions are going to be perceived by the American public and the world public at large.
That has been our presentation on Fender Musical Instrument Corporation Supply Chain Management. We have been Team Gator. Thank you very much. It's been a great semester. Enjoy the rest of the spring.